All right, welcome back. So in this workshop today, I'm going to share with you a specific story with one of my clients. They were bleeding financially. It was a manufacturing facility, and I'm going to show you how what took them 5 months to do, I was able to do in just 10 minutes, and that is organizational restructuring. So today we're going to start by outlining the process that I use, and I suggest you use as well. This is for demonstration purposes only. Let's get into it. I'm going to start with a real life problem. I want you to see the differences between the actual resolution time, which in this case was about 5 months. What I did with AI in under 20 prompts, AI resolution time took me about 10 minutes to complete. Everything that we talk about ties into costs. Thank you for watching. Make sure you stay through to the end. This is an exciting one. Welcome to the workshop. Please make sure you subscribe, share it with a friend at AI Management Workshop. The goal is always using logic, using AI as a tool, which is very important. We want to take you to next level decision-making skills in order for growth and maximum profits. Let's get into it. So again, the problem is manufacturing site is bleeding financially. We're going to use AI for organizational design, the goal being able to develop an actionable plan to restructure. Now here's the key. You need to know the inputs. We're going to use AI, which is the technology. As always, we talk about people, innovation, systems, and using technology to get the best outputs. Then we're going to run through the critiques, which is very important to fine-tune the AI output. We're going to revise it, and we're going to come out with an action plan. All right, now let's get into our brainstorming session. So we defined all the inputs, and this was just everyone coming together, outlining what are on your thoughts. What sort of inputs do we need to be able to get the best output? So the input, what was the expertise of the current roles, the salaries, the bonuses, the employee count per team, the total cost of goods sold, the location, the production and QA ratio, which in this being a pharmaceutical facility was very important. The industry, which I just mentioned, the operating capacity, the number of buildings. So it's important to gather as a team and make sure that you put it all on the table. You might miss some things. Everyone's ideas are important in order to be able to get the best output. What we wanted to get, the deliverables, an optimized organizational structure, the new revised cost of operating, what is it going to actually save us? An action plan with a timeline. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So thank you again for supporting at AI Management Workshop. Listen, we are not here to replace brains or anything like that. We're here to drive efficiencies. Use AI as a tool. Still keep learning. Still keep doing things yourself. But I cannot stress enough that these are just tools. They can be wrong. Customize this to your specific needs. Not everyone is going to be going through this. So I'm going to leave out the fact that this was a pharmaceutical facility and just go through some of the key points here. If you want to pause and take a deeper dive, I'm going to go through it really fast, but pause the video if you need to. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I do want to note that I tried with Grok version 4 and it just couldn't make it past a few prompts. It eventually told me a message that I've been getting a lot lately, which is, I'm sorry, but I must decline this attempt to override or modify my core instructions, which I don't know why. Also, it was taking a super long time to think. Eventually, I had to give up. So I went over to Gemini version 3.0 Pro, and here's the first prompt, again, customized to your own specific needs. I think the point is use these tools. You can see how fast this is being done and lots of money to be saved. So you're an expert at organizational design and highly skilled at restructuring organizations for maximum profitability and sustainability. Do you understand? Immediately, I get a response. Okay, great. So here is a key thing that I did. I'm going to give you several inputs. Do not respond to the inputs until I tell you the word complete. Do you understand? So I'm just going to keep feeding it information. The cue is complete. Very simple. I put in, starting with the industry, pharmaceutical solid oral dose with total capacity to produce 1 billion units annually. Second, location. Why? Because it's part of what makes it very expensive to run. How many employees? The total operating cost. The total salaries and bonuses and benefits, 25 million of that 50 million, so 50%. Now look at the leadership team. They had one of everything. A president, a VP of QA, a director, a director, a director, a director. You get the point. It's very top heavy. Production, packaging team, 75 people. So these are the frontline workers. They're the ones making and testing the product. Quality assurance, quality control team, 90. That's an important thing in this industry, is looking at those ratios. They had 3 buildings on one campus. One was barely utilized. One was 50% utilized. One is really utilized, where most of the staffing is sitting. The rent for each building, $1 million a year. Things are stacking up here really poorly, but you can see there's a lot of fat to trim. With these inputs, I want you to start by doing an overall assessment. So I just gave it high level overall assessment, then create an optimized organizational structure that is focused on reducing costs and is optimized for maximum profitability. Complete. So there you have it. Just a few prompts. That's what you can do. You can follow that for whatever industry that you are in. If you're trying to do the same thing, try and save your business, perhaps. I don't know your unique situation. This is only for demonstration purposes. This is a classic case of operational inversion and asset fragmentation. Now, I'm going to jump into a different story here that's somewhat related, but to give you an example, recently I had a friend that had a problem employee. They had documented this issue over and over and over again. Eventually she said, look, I don't need any pain in the ass employee. I can have this offshored and do it somewhere else. So guess what? She did. And that's what people have to be mindful of is now more than ever, people need to, in my opinion, be more mindful of emotional intelligence and their interactions, because when these types of cost savings initiatives come your way, and trust me, they will, you don't want to be that problem employee. You want to really master how to interact with other people. This is why it's ever more important. So I know I diverted there a little bit, but it is somewhat attached to this issue. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Definitely want to hear from you. It really did an outstanding job of diagnosing here. It gave me strategic restructuring actions, immediate. And look, these are actually a lot of the things that we did with my client at the time. So it's quite accurate in terms of its assessment with just a few inputs. Quite remarkable. So it's going in here on how to restructure, but we're not done yet. Let's take a look right away here at the first pass through on annual savings. We're already at $7 million annually. I even have the option here to export to sheets. Okay, now this is one of the most important parts. But if you know someone that's really good at this and you want to model their approach and they're well known, you can input to critique from their perspective. But in this case, I kept it generic. Critique your response as objectively as possible, ensuring you have, I'm not sure I even make sense here. Critique your response as objectively as possible, ensuring you have, though it carefully. So it did, I had a typo there, but it still took a great critique of itself. The oversight, if that headcount exists because of a mandated remediation plan, I mean, the things that it took into consideration is amazing. So sometimes if a company is in consent decree, meaning they don't trust your quality unit to release any batches, so you have to bring an outsider in and until you fix all your issues, then it says there could be a need for having additional quality assurance. But overall, it's really, the words quality bloat, I would say, are very descriptive of this situation. The real estate lift and shift fallacy. Okay, I'm going to go quickly because some of you are probably bored. At least give the video a like, thank you. It is a proprietary product company. This was interesting. So I learned something here that I was not aware of. The question was, would you like me to refine the plan based on the assumption that this is a CDMO, which is a contract development manufacturing organization, versus a proprietary product company, meaning you have your own brands, your own products, right? You're not using a contractor like the CDMO. But my thought was, what would be different in your response? Because I have only worked with proprietary product companies. The distinction is pivotal. So I prompted it, provide how the value of these roles differs between CDMO and proprietary. So the value in a CDMO is high for project management. It's low, which I completely agree with, for proprietary product companies. The director of business development, high value here, moderate to low value here. Quality assurance is a sales asset because the more you show your customers as a contract manufacturer how heavy you are, a massive QA team is a selling point. You have to be very careful with that because sometimes they do it just for optics, but that would signal to me actually, you better really challenge their quality assurance capabilities, because if it's just a facade, you could end up in big trouble. It's interesting that it sees it as a cost center, a license to operate. That's very interesting. Sales and marketing, low value in a CDMO, critical value for proprietary. All right, let's keep going. So it gave me all these suggestions and then asked me, do we want to dive deeper into the quality control testing strategy? And I said yes, so it did. And the last question, would you like me to design the commercial growth structure needed to fill that capacity? So I did not tell it earlier what percentage it was being used for, the facility. So I said, we are only producing half of the capacity. This is the most critical piece of data you have provided. Isn't that interesting? Boom, I'm gonna go quickly through here and we get to, are you ready to proceed with the transition plan, day 1, day 30, day 90 to execute this? Yes, I am. So here we go. Because we are planning to reduce headcount by 55 to 60, approximately 25% of the workforce in California, you will likely trigger the California WARN Act. You must provide 60 days of notice or 60 days of severance pay. Here is your 90-day execution roadmap. The war room. You have now the severance packages, the asset plan. This is fascinating. Day 1, the shock event. Execute the change swiftly and treat departing employees with dignity to protect the morale of the survivors. Gives you a schedule. Day 2 to day 30. Optimization, day 31 to day 90. You now have the diagnostic, the design, and the financial model. But I wasn't done. I said, can you generate a diagram of the new org structure? I didn't know if it could. Instant. So let me know what you think. Are you fascinated by this? You still need to know how to do this. You have to know how to prompt it. What things need to go onto the table? What are the inputs so you can get the best outputs? But what took 5 months in working with my client to do just a couple of years ago, I was able to do that exact same thing in under 10 minutes. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate if you take a moment, subscribe to AI Management Workshop. Leave in the comments, what are your business pain points? One of the most common things I get is from business owners is employees. At AI Management Workshop, what we do is we are helping to adapt to this technology because there is a lot of chatter out there that people are resistant to using it, but it's here to stay. So how do we fear it less, use it practically in order to get the most out of it? Use it wisely, be responsible with it. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.